Hey, what's up, Couch Potatoes? Here's spooky season, and we're here today to talk 1980's The Shining by Stanley Kubrick, written by Stephen King. You may have heard of him. This is one of my favorite horror movies and horror books, and yes, you can like both, of all time, and I'm excited to talk about this one. This was actually my 12-year-old's number one pick for this year. I don't know why he got so suddenly interested in this. I think it's just all the pop culture, because I think you see so much from this movie. Even if you haven't seen it, you know the twin girls, you know the flooding elevator, you know the axe, you know here's Johnny, you know all these things about the movie even before you've seen it. But I think one thing my kid didn't know was Red Rum. And I think he actually figured it out, but he didn't while the movie was going. Did he figure it out while we were watching?
No, I think he
said he figured it out. I have it on my door, my office, and he said he figured it
yes.
out from my office.
Yes.
But so it was interesting.
So he knew it. He didn't know he knew it.
I wasn't sure how it was going to go with him, not just because of the concept, but because it's slow. It's slower paced. Yes. You know, and I wasn't sure how it was going to hold his interest. But he seemed to be in it. He seemed to be in it for the whole time. But he actually, after we were done, he said it wasn't that scary. So I'm like, wow, okay, because it scared the piss out of me. You know, when I watched it for the first time, to me it was like, okay, so this kid's dad's going crazy and trying to kill him. That's scary shit to me. So I think about Jack Torrance, you know, wrecking through the door with the axe, and that scared the piss out of me as a young man.
The room.
Yeah, room 217 or 237 in the movie, 217. 217 in this and 237 in the movie. I said I think that's the scariest single chapter that Stephen King's ever written, and I think the movie does a great job with it.
Messed me up
it really is.
In the book, and the picture at the end messed me up. Like there was lots in that movie.
So what does the picture at the end of the movie mean? You've always been here. What was that? He was there in 1921. July 4th. Is that what you're talking about? The photograph at the end that creeps you out?
Yeah.
I don't have an answer. I was like, that's like
I don't want to talk about it. It still messes me up.
That's like the inception of horror movies. People are still talking about all these years later. But
since you were here, you were always here. We always knew you would be here. Mm-hmm. We were just waiting for you.
You've always been the caretaker. Yeah. So look, with this, I think it's gotten a life of its own, because you hear about how Stephen King hates this adaptation because it's not faithful. Look, here's what I'll say. There are things that are very different than the book. There are. But I think this is like Jurassic Park, where the book and the movie are very different, and they're both amazing.
Can be great, yeah.
That's how I feel about this. I think they're both just spectacular. I understand King's criticism of saying Jack Nicholson already seemed crazy before they even got to the Overlook. Sure. That's just the way Jack Nicholson looks. He's an intense actor. He's got those eyebrows. Yeah. You know, so yeah, like he's telling Danny about the Donner Party at the beginning of the movie. I'm like, wow, you're already evil. You know,
okay, but if his backstory is the same in the book, he was crazy. If you're assaulting students and pulling your kids.
Yeah, he was a drunk. Yeah, he picks Danny up because he's mad and his arm dislocates.
I've seen the movie multiple times. We're just rewatching with our kid, and this time watching it, I don't know, it kind of occurred to me, like, I think I was telling you this. I think he has some of the shine, and he drinks to dull it, and then being sober, stuck in the hotel, brought it all back, and he couldn't cope with it. I mean, clearly, because he was drinking before.
So do you think people with the shine are drawn to the Overlook then? Because, I mean, if you've seen Dr. Sleep, you know things. But I think with that theory right there is like, okay, well, so then are you telling me that Mr. Grady also, the previous caretaker, the one that actually killed everybody, did he have the shine too?
Potentially.
Because I just think the hotel's haunted. And it eats away at you little by little.
Oh,
and that's why at the end, I don't think that Wendy had the. I
was gonna say, but
why? I don't think she had the shine, but she sees everything at the end. Yeah. She sees everything's just like going crazy, you know. So I don't know, that's an interesting theory.
Maybe it feeds off the shine, gets more powerful. I don't know.
All right. Well, let's do like always. Talk about what you like, what you didn't like. What did you like about The Shining?
I like Danny.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, and
He's
good
great.
kid.
What about Tony? Do you like Tony?
No, I like the chef. What's his name? Totally just forgot.
Dick Halloran?
Yes, Mr. Halloran.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, that's
really good. What's up, Doc? Yeah, he's good. He's good. He gets done dirty in the movie. He doesn't get done dirty like this in the book. Yes. But I think it's.
But he has a nice room. He's enjoying his time away from the Overlook.
He has some interesting artwork, that's for sure.
He definitely enjoys his time off.
I think
Mr. Halloran.
They portray the shine in a way that I think is it gets it across what's going on, like the communicating the long distances. I love it where Dick's talking to Wendy, and he actually looks over and he talks to Danny, while he's still talking to her. It gives you a good idea. So I think he's getting across how the Shining really works. It's not just ESP. There's a lot more to it. You can see things that haven't happened yet. You can see things maybe you can change kind of thing. It's kind of like, I think it's kind of a spinoff of what he did in the Dead Zone, where Johnny could touch somebody and see the future and he could interact with it and change it. So I think there's some things like that a little bit. So I think The Shining has always kind of evolved in its universe. It's taken on different abilities. But I think anytime anyone has any kind of supernatural ability in one of those books now, they say, oh, it's got to be The Shine, right? Because I think this is maybe his most famous book. This or It, I think it might be, or Pet Sematary is probably his most famous book, where everybody has heard of it, even if they haven't read it. And people to go to someone who's never read Stephen King and mention The Shining, and they probably know it's a Stephen King story.
I'll say my favorite is Firestarter, and so...
Yeah, so did she have The Shine?
No.
So telekinesis is not The Shine?
No.
Starting fires?
Pyromaniac? No, she had chemical enhancements.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Drugs, baby. Drugs, baby. So for me, I think it's the atmosphere of this book, this movie. The soundtrack is just drones on, but just in a way where I can't believe how effective just a heartbeat is. There's a good stretch in the movie for like 10 minutes. It's just a heartbeat. And where he's like, he wants to go get his fire engine, and he's sitting on the bed with his dad, and it's like, I have seen this movie a dozen times at least, and I'm still nervous in that scene that he's going to hurt him there, and it's just, you would never hurt me or mommy, would you? It's just like, oh my, as a dad, it's like, oh my God, that hurts my heart so much. Just know this guy's just going slowly crazy. And I feel like it gets across better in the book. He's trying to fight it. He's trying to fight it a lot harder. The movie just looks like he's like, yeah, bring that shit on, but
the movie, it just looks like, yes, he stays up all night and like entertains the crazies.
Yeah, in the book, he's very much trying to fight it, but but little things like that don't really hurt the movie for me. The story that Kubrick was trying to tell here is, apparently he threw Stephen King off the movie set, so of course Stephen King has got some nasty feelings towards him. I've heard that Stanley Kubrick is not the easiest guy to work. Like, what's her name that played Wendy? What's her name? Shelley Duvall?
Oh, Shelley Duvall, yeah.
Apparently, he had her on the verge of a nervous breakdown. And I mean, that comes across in how insane because he wanted that reaction out of her. That's just the kind of director that he is. So the fact that these people were actually able to hold together might have been going a little mad a little bit recording here. Actually, I think kind of came across because all the performances are great. You think you got three people really are carrying this movie. And this child actor against two seasoned veteran actors at the time, I think he held his own pretty good, especially when you think about the content. Can a young actor really understand what they're doing? I think he does a really good job with it. So a lot of these things, I'll go back and I'll look at the child actor.
He plays two characters too. He plays himself and Tony.
Yeah, really good. Like especially when he loses himself to Tony.
Yeah.
That's really, as a parent, I don't know how I would process that. Like I said, shake the hell out of him, shake him a lot. Yeah, good stuff. So I think just like the tension, the slow inevitability of this guy going mad, and his family knows it, and they keep getting more and more distant. You think they got this humongous hotel, and they feel like they can't get away. So they're like I guess they're like out in the lobby area, like watching TV.
Away from the hotel as well.
And you can tell it's just like, oh, it's like 4 PM. Oh, Dad's sleeping. It's just like she's not even trying to resist that something bad's going on. She knows something bad's going on. And so it's just that sense of dread.
Now that's something I dislike about the movie, and I know it's
let's talk about what you didn't like. Go ahead.
Yeah, but very much.
Is it that Wendy's a shrinking violet? Yeah, she's not in the book. She's not. She actually knocks his ass out. She knocks his ass out in this too, but she's not like that in the book. No.
Yeah. Okay, because that's hard for me to stomach, and I don't know if that's of the
King doesn't write a lot of people, but King can't write female characters. He doesn't write his female characters like that. I'll tell you that much. And I think that probably bothered him more than what Jack Torrance was on the screen. Yeah. I think that probably bothered him a lot more.
That was hard for me to stomach and sit through. Gosh, I was just thinking of some other things. It's hard. The 70s aesthetic. Oh, the pink and gold. Oh.
But the carpet, the shining carpet, the famous shining carpet.
It's iconic.
That is iconic. But yeah, I agree.
It's still ugly.
Same with the haircuts, like his Apollo rocket hand-knit sweater.
The embroidered sweater, yeah.
God, I'm glad I was born when I was, because I had some bad stuff. I never had anything that bad. I don't think. I don't know. I looked some of his baby pictures. I might find some. I think I had Danny's haircut one time. I think you did too.
I did too. Yes.
Oh, Gen X.
Seen that picture, yeah.
It's good. For me, not a ton of bad here. Really, for me, it would just be all stuff that's just changed from the book. I mean, as far as the movie goes, I think I had this as my second favorite horror movie of all time, behind only John Carpenter's The Thing. So I think it does a lot of things right. For me, it's like, I only real complaint I would have of this is that it ends so quick. Just like he's chasing them in the labyrinth there, and then it's just frozen, and then the credits roll. And I'm like, what else really could you have told after that? But I don't know. I think maybe it's just because the tension's ratcheted up to here at that point in the movie, and then it doesn't give you any time to come down. And I think that's maybe why it's so effective.
I still maintain too, like on a realistic scale, 3 people cannot maintain that place over the winter. Like the hedges, I just know.
Yeah, the book has a lot of
Like,
cleaning
you
out
need 5
wasps'
families.
nests. There's a lot about wasps' nests and the shrubs. The shrubs actually come alive in this book.
Yeah.
The shrubs come alive, and they replace that with the labyrinth maze in
Let's
the
say
movie.
just taking care of shrubs would be a team of people.
Yeah, it's
Grounds in general.
it's a little bit more of that slice of life that Stephen's so
Yeah.
good at. I think in there, and you hear about his past, Jack's past, and while he's writing this book, which he's actually going to be like a history. And that's when he's slowly going mad in the book. Whereas in this, it's just like after like day 3, like some of the most iconic parts of this movie are not in the book. That's what's amazing. Here's Johnny. It's not in the book. It's not an axe. It's a croquet mallet.
All work and no play.
All work and no play. It's not in the book. And I was like, that's
astounding.
It's one of those things where I was like, Stephen King probably hates this movie because he gets credited for that. And it's an awesome idea, but he's like, damn it, that isn't one of mine. Yeah. So there's tons of things about this that are iconic that actually aren't from the book. But again, I think they're both really, really great properties. But I mean, would you recommend The Shining?
That's a rough one. That's because I do
Stanley
think,
Kubrick's not for everybody. I will say that.
Yes, I do think it's good. I don't think it's for everybody. I think it's long. I think that is part of the buildup of the right is supposed to be long, but it is a long movie, so I don't know if I'd recommend it to everybody.
I think I would because of the historical significance of
Yeah,
it. I think it's a pop culture touchstone. I feel like
iconic.
everybody needs to
iconic.
see it at least once. Is it going to work for everybody? I don't know.
think so.
I think, and I hate this. This is going to make me sound so much like a Gen Xer. But ADD Nation, they
'Cause you
can't
are?
they can't handle movies that are so slow paced, and this movie is incredibly slow paced.
But our 12-year-old did.
But it's atmospheric. You can't scroll your phone while you watch it because you'll miss little tiny things that you need to pay attention to. So it really is just one of those things like can you sit there for 2.5 hours, undivided attention, and just watch the screen? Because I know a lot of people struggle with that nowadays. It's really, really tough for some people to do that. So if you can do that, I think that you would like this. Maybe. But would I recommend it? I mean, if you're into horror movies, absolutely. Yeah. This is one of the all-time greats. You have to. It's maybe Jack Nicholson's best performance ever. I mean, he's just awesome, even if it is different than Jack Torrance, in the book. It's still it's an iconic performance. And here's Johnny is just legendary. It's just a legendary moment, and it's wild that that's not in the book. And the thing was, like, I didn't grow up with Johnny Carson, but even I got that reference.
I stayed up and watched them. Yeah,
I
didn't have
never
bedtimes
watched that. So, star rating Pumpkins, fire away.
Star rating 3. It's I honestly would probably go lower, but it is iconic. It is a horror staple. It's but there are Kubrick is an acquired taste, and it is very long. And then pumpkin rating, gosh, probably go with a 3 again.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 5 stars all the way.
I know.
This is high cinema. Stanley Kubrick, one of the greatest directors ever. Like I said, he doesn't work for everybody, but if he works for you, he really works for you. And this is just iconic. Like how good this movie is it completely changes things from Stephen King's story, and I always complain about, and I'm okay with it. That's just how good it is here. And I'm going 4 on Pumpkins. Room 237 scares the shit out of me. I mean, every time. And like I said, that tension just being so high. And like, I know when Dick's about to get the axe, and I'm still just like holding my breath, So I mean, just that final, just when he's trying to get out of the hotel, all those jump scares, they get me every time. The guy in the bear costume still gives me the willies. Mr. Grady gives me the willies. I mean, it's just some great, great stuff. Lloyd gives me the creeps, and he's just serving the guy drinks, but he gives me the creeps, So I think it's just the atmosphere of this movie.
Oh yeah,
really just it shines through for me. See what I did there? So, guys, The Shining. What did you think? Drop in the comments, guys, and let us know, and we will talk to you there.